Okay, there we go. Alright. Hello, good evening, or good morning. This is a little bit more prompt, more late and sudden stream I wasn't planning to do today. Because I've been playing First Descendant and I actually wanted to do a stream for this. So, gonna be a short one, probably for only like an hour, and very simple. I am just farming components for one of the characters in the First Descendant. Here, I'll take a pause and to show which one. So the components I am farming are for a character called...
What?
Let me find her. Gley.
Oh, my beloved daughter died. Hold on a little longer. Your mom will save you no matter what.
So I want to get Gley as one of my newer characters for the First Descendant. I already have Vyessa and Bunny, but I want to make her Gley my third one. And so far, this has been one of the harder things I'm doing in the game, which is farming the components for a character. Because now I now am learning what I have to do. So I'm still in the early stages with all this farming. I was fortunate enough to get one of her materials, the Gley code, early on, like in the first 5 hours of the game. But I still need to get the spiral catalyst, stabilizer, and enhanced cells. What I'm farming at the moment is components for the spiral catalyst, and specifically with that, the where is it? No, stabilizer, Gley stabilizer for the complex carbon activator. So I'm farming this one specifically because this is the only one I can get right now, or the only other one I can get right now that that's unlockable in the Echo Swamp through the two dungeons, Seed Vault and the Chapel. Everything else, unfortunately, is at a higher area, like White Knight Gulch. Looks like those are dungeons. And then check the stabilizer. Yep, this looks like another dungeon I can unlock. I have that. Still getting used to these menus. Yeah, I need to go to Agna Desert later on for the story. White Knight Gulch looks like another operation or mission, and yeah, these are later on. So, and let me check in the map for that. Yeah, Agna Desert is where I would get the majority or the rest of the components for Gley that I cannot get right now. So I'm just focusing on the specific dungeons in Echo Swamp, which is going to be the chapel. So that's what I'm just doing for this stream right now. Nothing more than that. It's just going to be me doing this one mission over and over and over again, and I'll just be talking about more of my thoughts with the First Descendant. So I thought, as I'm heading to the terminal to start the mission, as you can see right here, I'll just go to Seed Vault, which is the first one. The second one for the Echo Swamp, and I'll start this one. This one I've been farming more repetitively. And once again, I am specifically farming... Oh, it doesn't show here. But to show it again, I am specifically farming Complex Carbon Activator, and I'm trying to get 60 of those. I need 24 of those. I've been getting 4 of each every time I do this run, and a run will take 8 minutes if it's a good run. So, may not get it in the next hour, but I wanted to record just to mix it up a bit. Anyway, that being said, I thought I was going to do a part 2 of my thoughts of my playing the First Descendant, of me continuously going through the story and talk about the story here and there with these videos. That didn't happen because I think when I created the first part, it was a little bit after the early stages of the game. But now I am maybe another 20 hours into the game with this count. So I'm already a little bit halfway through the story now. Which is okay because there's still lots of things I want to talk about with this game that I've really been enjoying. So, to get started with this, as I turn on my audio because it's loud in my ear. So, I guess to get started with the First Descendant, I am really enjoying this being a turn off your brain kind of game for me. I am enjoying the looter shooter grind of this kind of game because the last time I played a game like this, I think I mentioned in my last video, maybe about a week ago, about the First Descendant, was it reminded me of Destiny, like Destiny 2013 when it first came out. And despite my feelings, how I feel about Destiny, which is not very good, I actually have a video about that of my. I think I called it like. Not, I think I called it my honest review of Destiny, but there's a previous video of that. It was a shorter video, and it was it was definitely a high school version of me of that video of how I felt about Destiny or how I was. But simply put, I don't like Destiny, but I do like the looter shooter mechanics and the gunplay of Destiny. So I do have some positives. I just didn't like how its lackluster story, the content that came out that was also lackluster, feeling very bare bones and 6 stars. That was probably the first time I felt the game was very underwhelming, and then following suit after like 2013, I was like, oh my gosh, so many other games could feel underwhelming in the future. But I digress. Anyway, with the First Descendant, it's a great turn off your brain game for me where I get home from work, 8-hour shift, and I just turn on this game and it's casual enough for me where I can just jump in, play, do a few quick missions, get some content done, get some grinding done, and just go to sleep. And I really enjoy it. Like, I even enjoy just the small details of how it even tells you how long these missions are going to take. Whether it's going to be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, even 2 minutes. Like, that, to me, is such a nice quality of life in this game that I enjoyed a lot. And even with the dungeon I'm farming right now, it's the same repetitive dungeon over and over, same enemies, same stuff, and I'm just going as fast as I can. But one of the things this game does really well that I cannot recall Destiny doing, and I just like that this as a current modern game for 2024 is doing, is once you finish the dungeon, you can restart the dungeon almost immediately after completion. There is no like, I have to load back out of the zone for one loading screen, click a terminal, click and talk to the character to restart the dungeon, go for another loading screen to enter the dungeon and start it again. It is, I want to do, I finish the dungeon, I click a button, I'm reloading, get back into the queue, get in the queue, one loading screen, and then I'm ready back to this. And I think that sort of minimization of this artificial wait time to start playing again being decreased, or minimized I said, is just so makes the grind more fun. Like, the grind is long, and I look into how many components I need to do just to get Gley one character. Out of like what, 16 Descendants that you can play, including the ultimates. I think it just makes it more bearable, and I think that is a really strong point for me in the combination of casual game, kind of like I could turn off my brain as I'm kind of doing now as I'm just talking about my thoughts of it, and that it doesn't take a lot to just get back into the action, and that makes me like really I'm not there into late game yet. I watched a video about what late game looks like, and I'm not terribly too excited for it yet. I guess because I don't know too much about it, but I think the video gave me like a bad impression of it. But to know that weapons will literally get to level 100 and that will eventually get to level 200 with the hard mode, it just instantly seems like there's just a longer grind to get into, which I hope it's gonna be good. I mean, it's gonna be most likely to be more things that's what I'm enjoying, but what rubbed me the wrong way about the end game was the video said basically just encouraged of, oh, you need to rush to the end game. You need to rush it as soon as possible. The moment you start the game, rush to the end game, and that's the first thing to do, and things you need to know. And I'm like, I don't like that feeling. I don't like that feeling of I have to rush the game and possibly ignore certain mechanics, or not ignore mechanics, but rush through certain moments in the game, or take my time to just enjoy what I'm doing right now. Like even when I'm doing this, like I'm doing this early game grind, where someone could say, "Oh, you should just do it until you get to end game." It's like I don't want to do it. I want to enjoy it now. I want to enjoy this part of the process now, and then I'll enjoy the part of the process when I get to end game. Because to me, I don't want to feel like there is a rush to end game, like I'm competing against other people, because I'm not really trying to, and I don't want to as well. Like, I still want to enjoy this game at my own pace, still doing my own daily challenges for the battle pass if I want to get that, and have fun. And I think I've really been having a lot of fun playing this game my own way, going my pace, even if it isn't the most quote-unquote optimal, most efficient in terms of getting the most material as fast as I can. Because here's the thing, I don't know how long the game's gonna be for grinding, but the quicker I finish that grind, the sooner I'm done with it. And I don't want to be done with the game soon. I don't want to sometimes do the most optimal thing just to finish it sooner. Just say, oh, I have less game and I have less reason. That to me is sad and kind of boring, and I don't want to do that right now. I really want to enjoy this time with this game. So, what else about this game? The story. More thoughts about the story. Now that I've completed like 3 more areas of the world since part 1. It is serviceable. It definitely gets the job done. It's nothing to write home about. I definitely got more used to the voice acting. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. I'm okay with it. I think also what I'm doing is I'm more engaging with the story, more focusing on it. Like there's definitely some moments where I feel like feeling a lot of like the dialogue I'm not interested in. I kind of like tune out a little bit, but I still keep an open ear for the more important bits of what's happening. So I do know what's going on with the plot of the Iron Hearts, what's Corell doing, the importance of what the Descendants are trying to do, understanding a little bit of the lore, and like Corell being the main antagonist, and keeping up with like all the important bits. So it's not a confusing story for sure. That being said, I I was very taken aback, and I guess I'm spoiling parts of the story right now by just talking about it, but I was very taken aback in a good way of the surprise of the latest cutscene I got from this specific dungeon that I'm farming right now. It won't show up now because I've already done this dungeon. I saw the cutscene, but the cutscene in this dungeon where the tone of it just got very intense, very graphic with like the imagery of the violence happening. I was very shocked about it because I was not expecting the game to go through such a crazy tonal shift of like what was actually happening. Because like the game tried to pitch stuff as like, oh, it's intense, but you know like the character's gonna be okay. It's that feels that sort of like anime style, like crazy combat, or you know, we just move on. But when I got to this sort of feeling of like and visually showing like the intense war of like the death of the soldier and then the decapitation of a character of like one of their limbs, I was like, oh my god, holy shit, how do they do this? Like it actually got me excited for the rest of the story to see, like hoping like, man, I hope it gets a little more intense like this moment in the story right now, because I'm really excited. And that's where I'm left off right now with the story is that last cutscene and wanting more. I want this more of this crazy tonal shift of the story, and I hope it gets me more invested with the characters, because it does look like there's a lot more to do. I mean, I have half of the map left. I can't see it right now in the dungeon, but I have half of the world left that I want to explore narratively through the story as well to see what they'll do. So, simply put, I would say I am a bit invested. And I think that's a good thing. But let me go back to Albion and just show the map again to give like an idea of like how much is left and you know how much I'm hoping for the rest of the game. So looking back at the map, I did Kingston, which is the first land. I did Sterile Lands was the second area, Vespers was the third, Echo Swamp was the fourth. That's half of the game right there, and Echo Swamp being where the crazy cutscene happened with the insane tonal change for me on the violence of the game. I'm really hoping the last areas of Agna Desert, White Knight Gulch, Fortress, and Hagios. I hope it gets more intense. I hope it gets more interesting. I hope I get more invested into what's happening. But for now, I will continue grinding because I do want to get Gley, as I've been playing Viessa a lot, and I've been playing Bunny quite a bit too. She's almost level 40, and I do want to resume more of the grind for other characters. And just also have a change of pace too. So let's continue this again. I do have 41 of the components I need. I need 19 more, so maybe, hopefully I can get it in the next like 5 or so runs. Hey, what's up, buddy? I need to move this. I keep looking to the right because I have my OBS to the right, and I'm noticing I keep looking to it because I keep looking at OBS as I'm looking at the game too. There we go. So I'll be more looking to the left now. What else about this game? I did the fourth main boss, the interception bosses. I think it was called Dead Bride. And I did that yesterday. That also gave me a good change of pace with difficulty of this game, because the game has so far felt very, for most of the time, like breezing through it. I think until I got to Echo Swamp is when the game felt much harder in terms of keeping with the enemies and make sure I grind, or not grind, I change my equipment, I upgrade, make sure I install my modules and then reactors and enhancements and all that to make sure I could keep up with it. Because it was getting tough. It was actually getting tough. I was actually getting outclassed by the enemies, and I had to think a little more with my gameplay. But right now the gameplay is pretty easy. I have the gear that's much stronger for this mission, and the team is pretty good, so that makes it easily. But going back to Dead Bride, the interceptions, or I'm just gonna call it raid bosses. I feel like raid bosses from like other games like World of Warcraft or Destiny. That difficulty increase was quite insane for the perception. The first 3 raid bosses was like, there's like what, 16 bosses in this raid bosses in this game. The first 3 were easy. We get to the 4th one about halfway through the game, and it's like, oh, okay, this is gonna be easy too. The bosses don't get hard until hard mode, and I'm doing these bosses on normal mode, and it was hard. Like, it actually felt like a DPS check of, can we put enough damage into this enemy before we run out of time? Can we put enough damage before people start dying too quickly? It actually puts a lot of damage on us with its like direct attacks, its aggros. The ads are kind of tough. I liked the arena a lot. The arena was was actually the most dynamic so far in terms of like, if I'm using that word right, with like having different platforms to jump on, different platforms to grapple on, to move around the map, take cover. There's environmental hazards on the map, and I was really taken back of one of the mechanics of the mechanic of the Dead Bride's AOE when it gets a full ultimate meter bar or enraged meter bar filled up, where it like encompasses like a fifth of that. Like this massive white dome that just knocks people out quickly if they're not paying attention. And that also got me pretty hyped too, along with, like I said, the story where it's going right now. The feeling like, oh, okay, this game's got some more meat in its bones, and I'm here for it. I am here for it, because I was definitely getting worried of feeling like this game's going to feel the same, it's going to feel easy, not going to be too interesting mechanics wise, so I'm glad to feel like I'm a little wrong on my first impressions. halfway through normal mode. So yeah, I am definitely excited for that. Well, what else with this game? I don't know how much I'll want to get into checking out checking out other people's videos for grinding, for build crafting, because I definitely still want to take some time to figure some stuff out on my own while I'm in normal mode, into the difficulties normal and hard. But once I get high enough level and finish the campaign into hard mode, then I'm more likely to check out the build crafting, because that seems like the right time for doing that, as that's where people are gonna start writing more.
There are bodies ahead. It's the soldiers.
But
Focus ambush. Focus.
I don't think about this. I'm still really wondering how long I'll play this game, as I mentioned in this video about the First Descendant, because I don't know how much it will stay engaging at the end game. But I guess I'm talking more in terms of making these videos, where it's like, I don't know how interesting it will be for me to make these videos talking about the First Descendant, and then just playing whatever, just like these repetitive missions. So I think I'll try to make more videos about this game as I'm still discovering it, as I'm still going through it, because I think that would be more interesting to have as content, and then just important for me. I think there's only so much I can do just repeating these dungeons, because I've been doing this specific mission for maybe about an hour already, so it is getting a little stale. So actually, I might jump on to the other dungeon to grind the materials, just so I can mix up those. Let's see. But in terms of weapons right now, I'm still very much enjoying the submachine gun for Vyessa. I think the fast movement character and just spraying and praying everything down has been very enjoyable, as that's not something I still haven't been doing a lot in my video games. I'm very interested in Gley's playstyle, because from my understanding, and I'm probably going to be wrong because I'm probably misremembering, but from my understanding is she doesn't have a shield, or doesn't have a strong shield, and she has two phases. One where she powers up, where she kind of like has her hair up and it turns white, and her normal status is where she has her hair down and it's black. Where she is able to do a lot of damage, but has no shield. And I know she can life drain and steal health from the enemies, so I think that is an interesting way. It sounds like she plays high DPS, no shield, but can steal enemies' health, so she constantly steals them. And I think that is going to be a fun way to mix up the playstyle. This sort of like glass cannon, this sort of like vampiric character. But also, I definitely enjoy and like her looks, for sure. So that is a nice skin for me. I already have a skin in mind for her I want to get, which is the Night Clinic skin. And oh, that's something I can talk about. I like that because that cost of that skin is what, $2.50, about 125 caliber. And for $2.50, that's for a skin I like that. I like that it's good pricing for me. It's good. I like the taste for me, so I'm very happy with it. And it does make me think about Vyessa, the skin I bought for her, which I have right now, it's $15. And I'm like, man, I like this game, but why did this skin I have to like have to be $15? And that really gets me to sort of like like my taste of like what am I gonna like, what I don't like, and of course that will be interesting on how much I will probably spend for Cognize, or how much I want to put that, because it being a free game is definitely gonna get me in sort of ways of like, oh, it's free, so I'll spend a few dollars here and there, and I hope I don't spend more than $60 for the game, because I'm not looking to do that. So, in terms of what are the weaponries, oh, let me mix them. I did switch to the laser because I had been using a scout rifle, a pistol, a revolver like pistol, and a submachine gun with the launcher as my secondary. So I was definitely feeling some sense of boredom earlier today because I definitely feel like I think they got very repetitive. So switching up my weapons has made the game more refreshing, while also remembering I can get proficiency out for these other weapons. So I'm still making progress to the grind such with the characters, the weapons, and the mastery ring, which is good. Also, gushing about this, I do enjoy the uh, marking everything and then going dismantle and then boom, everything's gone. And like I'll say it again, it's been a while since I played a looter shooter like this. Destiny was literally the last one I done in 2013. So I don't know what the big changes are in the last like 11 years for looter shooters, but this stuff is pretty good for me. Alright, let me jump into the other vault, the seed vault and infiltration. There we go. Hey, buddy. So let's see. Let's go ahead and jump to the seed vault. I have 45 carbon. Okay, so I need 15 more. Normal operation, and we'll jump into. There we go. And maybe I'll switch my weapon too. Been using the submachine gun quite a bit. I think it'd be a good time to mix it with something. Oh, but I did store all my weapons, so I might not be able to do that. Beam rifle, already have that. Yep. I already destroyed all my weapons, so I can't do that. Switch my weapons anymore. Alright, let's see.
We've secured the airspace above the operations zone. I'll leave you to handle the interior.
Oh yeah, I still gotta do the grind. I mentioned that earlier. I definitely want to show off that specific boss. While I'm still at this level, because if I get any higher, I'll have too much strong weaponry, and I won't be able to show the fight properly. I'll literally just mention.
There is no way for me to know what he is planning.
Oh yeah, so this specific part, we're gonna keep talking about the story, so a little bit more spoilers about what's going on. Is the character Jeremy? I was definitely not a fan of him being like the asshole character, the unbearable asshole who is constantly making fun of you, who's constantly antagonizing everyone, and just basically just being a pain in the ass. It just felt like such an unnecessary character in this story. So when he turned traitor, I guess it was sort of that feeling of like, okay, I guess you really want us to hate Jeremy more. So just another antagonist we want. The guy who is on our side that's antagonist the whole time. Oh, now we're gonna get him and take care of him and finally get our revenge. Like, yeah, we finally got the guy. To me, I think that's very like, I think that's not interesting. I think it would have been more narratively interesting to have the traitor being someone that we trusted, that we actually liked, and they would have been more invested in and like I said, likable. And but not like traitor like, oh, I've always been evil, ha ha ha, and like I betray everyone. Because that's not what Jeremy is. From it sounds like he was never he fought for humanity. From what I understand, he fought for humanity. He wanted humanity to survive, but he was concerned about how humans could do it. Thinking we were stagnant as a species, but he admired the enemy, the Vulgus, constantly trying to evolve themselves to be stronger beings, and just gaining more power. So I like that Jeremy was not sort of this, oh, I've always been evil, or I've always been with the Vulgus, ha ha ha, evil mentality. I like that he had this sort of like, look, I want humanity to survive, but I'm just gonna go a little bit about it this different way. Even if the way is kind of like a little predictable, a little cliche of like, oh, I'm just doing it for the power, or the bad guys have a point. I think that is has the potential to have a good conversation and story. I just wish they'd done it differently. I wish, like I said, the Jeremy was more likable. I wish we'd gotten to more of the idea of like understanding more of how humanity struggle is doing.
There are no signs of Jeremy here either.
More of the lore. Maybe it's there. Maybe I've already talked about it, like I said.
No. The density of the Kuiper is too low for that.
But yeah. Speaking more about Jeremy, the specific cutscene, once again going into my spoilers a little, I thought that was a great moment of his characterization. I thought because Jeremy's been built up to be this unbearable asshole, this arrogant asshole, thinking like he's better than everyone, and everyone hates him, and he feels like everyone's crazy because they keep hearing the AI in their head. So, when he went traitor to steal an iron heart from us that we acquired, to do his own research, of gaining more power, converting some soldiers from Albion to his side for the quote-unquote sake of humanity. There's a couple of moments where the Vulgus were chasing him with the iron hearts, and he left his soldiers that joined his cause behind. And I was like, man, what a piece of shit right here. Like, he's a traitor, he turns coward, like, leaving his men behind, he's a horrible leader. It's like, fuck, dude, that sucks. But what stood out to me was, in spite of all this comments, is when a Vulgus monster attacked one of the soldiers, it pinned him to the ground, and it started piercing this soldier with the tentacles going through the heart. And I was like, oh my god, this is getting like crazy violent right now, like into the way I wasn't expecting. And then it's a quick, you see the adult moment where you see a bullet and a clink onto the soldier's head, and then it's a moment I realized myself, oh my god, he mercy killed that soldier. Like, this guy who looked like he just didn't give a shit about anyone else, at least not to the Descendants, had a moment of like humanity that I just like really liked a lot. So it made his character more complex in that moment. Even if maybe someone can argue like at the small moments of like that he's doing. And he did like all these other bad stuff of being a traitor, gaining power, being a bad leader, leaving his soldiers behind that joined his cause. I believe him, so it sounds like a liar at this point now. He probably is. I like that he just had that trait, that quality of his character, and it makes me really feel like I want to know more with him. Like, is the game gonna make it more interesting moving forward? Are we getting more of this development of like everything that's happening, or are we gonna fall off and things are gonna get boring? Or maybe they're not gonna, or not boring. Maybe things are not gonna pay off as strongly as it could, or be written as well as it could. So I'm rambling around now. it's different for me to get all these words out in this kind of like format, in this like video format. Normally I have these thoughts to myself, but even to myself, I still sometimes have a hard time to get it all out. So, but I like them talking about it. So, I don't know who's watching this right now. I don't even have the YouTube chat on the side. I should really put that on the side so I can see. And I don't know who's watching these videos, listening ramble as I just grind for in-game materials. But yeah, I am just.
We've secured the airspace above the operation zone. I'll leave you to handle the interior.
Enzo has minimized external interference. We should be able to better focus on our objectives. Descendant, we need to determine what
so,
we're doing inside the cave. We need to know why the items
one of the things I really have been enjoying this game a lot, and I felt this feeling earlier today. I was doing one of the special operation defense mission in Kingston, where it's like the 21 waves, and each wave is like 2 to 3 minutes. You're holding off. It's a very long operation, and as far as I know, it's one of the best grinds for XP, weapons, Descendant, Mastery, all that stuff. And the way I've been playing, and because of my because of how fast movement, and just the grapples, I had this feeling where I was like, man, this shit feels like an anime battle right now. Like, I like the feeling of swinging around, this fast movement, like the power fantasy. Like, it's good in this game. I think it's been really good, or it's that I haven't been playing a lot of games where it had the power fantasy like this, because I've been playing Helldivers quite a lot, and that's been a very fun power fantasy of just spreading democracy against the Terminids and the Automatons with like the team, the Eagle Strikes, the calling, extra reinforcements, all that stuff. That's like a different level of power fantasy. I am definitely enjoying the this power fantasy of just the superpower humans. Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna pivot to a different topic right now, but there was a game I played, and it's a mobile game. And one of my friends, he showed me this game. It's called Counter-Strike, and it's a gacha game, a Korean gacha game, where humanity is on the brink of destruction against like this unbeatable or this overwhelming force that's destroying Earth, and humanity's on its like last few cities, but the only ones that can fight back are these superhumans. I think they're called counters, who had powers to fight against the monsters, which I think is called corruption, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyway, so you would get a bunch of characters in that game, like you would get characters in this game, and you would get a lot of characters because it's a gacha game. To build up your team, build up your squads, and fight against the corruption and other players. So, and the way you can build that game, that your squad was, you would have it with the superpower humans called counters. Then you would literally have it with like regular humans that don't have superpowers. They're just soldiers. They're just classified as soldiers, but they can join your counter team, and they're usually equipped with like some other like crazy equipment that for a bunch of military personnel to fight them. Then they would have mechs. You would have like the mechs would just be a bunch of like robots, like robot soldiers, drones, these super like walkers, like they're fucking Metal Gear Solid, or if you could think about it, like Mech Warrior. If anyone's ever played this like old Xbox game series called Mech Warrior or Mech Assault, they have like these new modern versions called Mech Warrior, Mech Warrior 5, or Mech Warrior Mercenaries. I guess those are the sequels, the successors to the original ones on the original Xbox. But think of it like that, like the Mexican mix. And you can build your comp featuring the superpower humans, the regular soldiers, humans, and the mechs, the robots. And when I saw how the soldiers play in that game, I fell in love with it, because the counters were basically, you would deploy the unit and it would be one person with superpowers being powerful in the fight. But when you deploy these soldier units, they would deploy in like these squads or these pairs or trios, and oh my gosh, I love swarm tactics. I love overwhelming numbers in like these strategy games, or in like whatever's going on in the game, or cinematic or imagery or movies, TV shows. I love this sort of military sense of like, yes, let us just send these regular soldiers to be an overwhelming force who are not special in any way, but they are so badass in their own way that they'll fight against these superhumans or these superpower monsters and oh my god, that shit is so good. So I would build my squad, which could have 8 different characters, 8 different units, and I would want to build it with like these soldiers, and I would get so happy winning against other players or winning against the monsters in the story, which is these regular soldiers, and it's like, yes, humanity being its best, like fighting and winning, even with no crazy superpowers. Like, to me, that is like a very fun, like, power fantasy, despite the number of soldiers you have to send to fight and die, and I think that's unfortunately very sad. But I really enjoy that one, and that's probably why I like Helldivers. Is the feeling of the Helldivers are regular soldiers. They're like what, ages 18 to 27. Like they're in. It's very brief. You can see in Helldivers 2, and I'm pretty sure it shows in Helldivers 1. Very young recruits, very young soldiers, and they're just very regular humans. But they can do extraordinary things, and I love that sort of idea of humans doing the impossible, or humans facing the odds, despite not having anything special about them. And I think, to me, that is accurate. I just think, to me, that is like amazing, and I love that sort of power fantasy of no special powers, no special traits, but we're gonna give it our best. We're gonna do our best to fight. So thinking of another game, Darktide, Warhammer 40k Darktide, that came out like what, over a year ago. Same thing. That universe is wild beyond anything I can understand. Like, we play same universe with crazy shit, humanity and doom, everyone's in constant war, and you got like the space marines who are like the super badass units, and soldiers who are fighting against everything, and even they lose, and even they die, even they fight super impossible situations despite their power. And I like Darktide a lot because it's once again the regular not even regular man, the regular person, the regular man, woman, whatever you are, fighting this fight and doing their best to fight, despite not having anything special about them. So one of the classes I like in that game is called a veteran, and they're basically just a veteran soldier, and as their class does. They're just a soldier, nothing more than that. And I really gravitated to that because once again it became that sort of regular human fighting the good fights despite all odds, and you can still have this insane level of badassery to fight all these monstrosities. And there are certainly some monstrosities that this regular human could not fight, that Space Marines can fight, which is like beyond their capabilities. But I still like this feeling of like, even in this league, what they can fight, they're still doing their damnedest, and it's tough. And I think it's just.
We've secured the airspace above the operations zone. I'll leave you to handle the interior.
Enzo has minimized
I don't even remember how I got to that point. I remember I was talking about Jeremy the trader with his powers, and I was talking about that one regular soldier who got killed. I definitely do like that stuff.
There is no way for me to know what he is planning. We must stop him before it is too late.
So, oh, here's a nitpick, a random nitpick about this game.
Please be careful.
I actually do not like that our descendants don't really talk. And I mean talk in like cutscenes. I mean, you can kind of hear like the bunny players here, like usually throwing out like a line here and there. Mostly them laughing, but that's not really talking. But more specifically, there was a cutscene when
that's strange. The enemy stationed at
Jeremy and then the Descendant you play were acquiring an iron heart. Well, the things we've been chasing this entire game. And Jeremy was talking to your Descendant, telling him like, hey, I got this, I'm gonna collect this iron heart, we'll be good, you should head back to base. And your Descendant just stands there staring blankly at Jeremy, and Jeremy's like, what are you doing here? You should go, get back to base, get more people to help out. and you just stare blankly and you leave quietly. And I think to myself in my head when I was having this scene, I was like, wait, no, we shouldn't leave. Like, we're here for this iron part. We're here to collect it together. Why would I leave? Why would I not say anything? Why would I not protest? Why would I not go on the radar, on the radio? There's a word for the communications. It's not called radio, but for radio for a second. And we should say something, but we don't. So I don't like this feeling of like we didn't have importance in the cutscene when this was a scene I feel like our characters should have had importance, especially when it was shown in the beginning. Especially when it was shown in the beginning of the tutorial where your character is talking and having importance to having agency to the story. And ever since the tutorial, your descendant you play is a silent. They're mute. They don't say anything. There was a moment where you're talking to a character in Albion, the hub area, and it's having that like they're dropping the expedition, they're dropping the story on you, and about what's going on, what you're gonna do, and you're just listening as you do, and they ask you like, oh, so are you in? Are you into doing this mission? Are you into joining this mission? And you say nothing. And the character actually acknowledges saying, oh, I will take your silent as the consent for yes. And I was like, wait, what? No, I don't consent. My silent doesn't mean I consent to this. So it's like, I thought the entire time it was our characters are talking, but we don't hear the conversation, but our characters are talking silently. And the characters we're talking to respond to this unheard dialogue. I didn't think it was the entire time that our characters are literally staring blankly, and then we just say nothing, and then stuff just happens. I think that's very lame and that's very weak, and we should have more importance of the characters, at least in sense of But I do enjoy that as we go through the story and we go through these different segments of the world, that we are meeting more descendants, we're meeting more characters, and they have like a role to play in these different regions of the world. And they have their dialogue, they have like their thoughts, they have their opinions of what's going on, and I love that sort of like they have like at least some sort of character development of what's going on. But it seems like the characters that have the least character development of the descendants so far is the first three. That you could pick from at the start of the game. And I wish that wasn't the case. I wish that wasn't the case, that they weren't gonna be characters at the moment, because I'm halfway through the game, that say nothing. Maybe they will, maybe they'll have more to say, but right now it's not showing. And I would like to see more of the first three characters to say something, because those are probably going to be the characters most people are going to be playing with. Whether they're here for a long time grinding to endgame, or you're only here for like a day or two playing the game for a little bit. It's like, you should hear your character talk. You should hear your character have some importance in the story, and I think the first three characters should get the most of that, and not these characters you have to grind out and get more of. Like, I love that I got to hear Gley, the character I'm grinding out on, but I want to hear more about her thoughts, her importance in the story outside of this one region. I want to hear her talk to other characters if you're playing as that character, if you're playing as her. Because when a cutscene comes up and you see your character and they have the equipment I think they have the equipment you're using, and they were in the cosmetics you're wearing, I want to feel like that character has importance. Give it to me. I don't want to be a silent protagonist. So I got, I went back to Albion because I'm almost done, but I got complex carbon activated. I need 7 more of those. I will definitely crown out the rest of those, but I definitely wanted to show off the Dead Bride, the one raid boss that I've been talking about. So let's see. I got, there's 8 here, and then hard mode has 8. So yeah, there's 16 bosses if we want to include repeat bosses over here. I'll do Dead Bride again. Maybe we'll get a not a fight where we lose or a fight where we win too quickly, but enough of a fight where it can show off the mechanics. Because once again, when this boss came up, I was like, oh, this is such a good fight. Oh, this is so fun. I'm really enjoying that this game is getting harder because I really like this arena. I really like this arena. I like that there's the death, the hazard right there on the ground. That's like just a pool of, I don't even know, call it damage. Not even lava. Look at it. Oh, health damage. I like that. I like that it's there. It's annoying, but I like it's adding more variety to these fights. I like that these platforms are literally just floating in the air, even if it's random. But I do like it because it makes the fight more intense. It goes back to what I said earlier in the game. It just feels like an anime battle. I wasn't talking about specifically this fight, but this fight also feels like an anime battle. Ah, we're melting this boss really quickly, but so I'll do this one like second time, so we'll try to see if it show off. But this boss was pretty hard the first few times I did it, because I think I lost like the first 5 times fighting this boss, and perhaps all 5 of those times we just died every time. Like, we ran out of lives because she was that strong and we were just that undercooked. Let's see what we got. I'll do pattern 22. Hopefully I can get whatever this is. Why not? Let's just roll for it. Give it to me. Give it to me. I don't know what I got, but I got that. I don't know what this is. That's the thing too about all this grinding stuff is I don't know what a lot of it means yet. So or maybe it's not that I don't know what a lot of it means. I don't know what I want to grind for yet. So I think when I get to end game, I'll definitely get to that point where I'll figure out which one stuff I want to grind for more, aside from Gley at the moment. And then I'll definitely be more invested in terms of like, that's fantastic, I got it, or that's frustrating, I can't wait this bullshit RNG 3% nonsense, because I'm sure it's gonna get annoying. And I seen, I think, a video or a comment talking about like, oh, this 3% chance stuff is so boring, it's so, not boring, it's so awful, I can't believe I've done this thing so many times and I haven't got my reward I want. Because that definitely feels very gotcha. That definitely feels like a gotcha game of the odds being so low. Because I think when I was playing like Counter-Strike, that was like the last gotcha game I really played. The last one I played before that was Fate Grand Order. The percentages for that for like ultimate characters, the best characters in the game, was 1%. So seeing 3% and then bumping into 6%, it's still pretty good. It's still pretty bad, but it's better than 1%. But it's definitely gonna still get that vibe of, yeah, you're kind of gambling the odds here for that RNG. Alright, there we go. So it looks like this bride is not gonna be taken out so easily, so let's get that really show off. Alright, so let's see. Oh, I really... Okay. So speaking of overwhelming odds, there is one character I want to get, and it's like an engineer character. I've been seeing them around. I started seeing them around today, and the homie just throws turrets. He throws turrets, and I think he has like a medical attention. I want that support character. I want to be that guy who just throws these additional allies on the field and just helps fight and overwhelm them. Once again, it goes back to overwhelming terror. I love anything that can deploy additional allies to help you. One, to make the fight more intense, and two, just as another support. It just to get that extra damage out, perhaps get some aggro, perhaps get some extra heals. It just hits all the right things I want in terms of like a sort of and so I want whatever this engineer character is that I've been seeing. Yeah, it's the one that the guy on the top right, Woodrow, has on his portrait. That's specific. I want that. I'll definitely see if I can look him up after this mission is done. Thinking about that actually gets me kind of hyped for something to grind for, another second character. Uh-oh, here comes ultimate. So she got the Dead Bride's got the full purple bar on the top, all charged up, and that's her ultimate. These purple, this aura death. So I'm trying to get the parts on our weapon that's causing the I think the ultimate that she's using, the aura of death. And then when she's in the state, she's also immune, so we gotta like knock her out of this phase, otherwise we're gonna just get stopped. Trying to get it. Oh, she put another one. Yes, there we go, there we go. So I took out this like core, this like fuse out of her gun, and then it took off the barrier and dropped reset her ultimate. So I definitely shouldn't be using Vyessa for this specific fight, because this specific fight, Dead Bride, has ice resistance, so I'm probably not being as effective as I could with Vyessa, given she is a person who's resistant to ice. But I think we are winning, so we're doing pretty good there. Wow, she's just tearing through this platform. Shit. Holy crap. So I love the movement right there. Oh god, the movement is getting so fucking good, dude. There you go. So let's see, I'm looking for the weakness points. Looks like we've been destroying a lot of them, and we're really just pinning them down now. Okay, let me get a blizzard on her. Yeah, she's standing still. I don't see any more weaknesses on her. Yeah, we'll take them down. Yeah, she's looking at me. There you go. She's burning it down right now. Nice, we're done. Excellent. Okay. Alright, let me grab the last set of loot, and I'll convert one of my, what's it called, amorphous materials into something, and see what we got. Yeah. Well, I've been using this gun. This is the gun I've been using for a while, so I'm able to make copies of this ultimate weapon for later. Alright. I think that is it for me then. I definitely streamed a little longer than I expected, but I'm glad I streamed for almost an hour. Alright, well, my camera's getting a little blurry for some reason. Well, I'm glad I got to do this. I rambled on quite a bit, but I think that's what I meant to do, so. Alright, well, for anyone who jumped in, I don't know if you were here, but thank you for watching. Hear my rambles, maybe something you enjoyed, maybe something you hated. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out later. But if you're watching this as it's uploaded, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you have a good day or a good evening, and maybe I'll see you around. See ya.